What is going on, everybody? Yeah. Man, it is Wednesday, and we're going to talk about all the wonderful things that Joe Biden did while he was in office and how much we appreciate him.
Yes.
And I don't think we've ever had a better president than Joe Biden.
Greatest president in the history
ever in history. Oh, the
Jeez.
lowest inflation,
That's
highest job numbers, never did anything untoward. He loves his family so much that he pardoned his son. Remind me of Jesus. No, kind of cool, you know. No, we lying though. We lying. We don't want nothing to do with that man no more.
No, we don't.
But what we is going to talk about is this concept floating around about this preemptive pardons that he's trying to hand out. And so the problem with the preemptive pardon isn't the preemptive pardon, is these people's stance on preemptive pardoning when Trump was thought to have been thinking about perhaps maybe doing it.
Mm-hmm.
Now, last time I checked, it wasn't even out of Trump's mouth, but it was suggested to Trump that he pardon his people. He never did that, did he?
No, they always assume what Trump's going to do. And you can see it right now. Well, Trump's going to do X, Y, and Z. They don't have proof of it because he's never said it. But, they did it with 2025. They talked about like he was going to do it, just like the pardon. He will. Nope, but he did.
Yeah. And so we're gonna show something here. I want y'all to listen carefully. Okay. This was 3 years ago. This is the problem with the internet, y'all. This is the problem with the internet. It's there. And it's going to be there for a while. Listen carefully to their talk 3 years ago.
4 years of the Trump administration have forced us to learn some very unusual expressions. Perfect phone call.
Just a perfect conversation.
MAGA, build the wall, very stable genius. And for his final act, President Donald Trump has given us yet another new concept, the preemptive pardon. That means pardoning someone for a crime they haven't yet been charged with, or maybe they haven't even committed yet. It takes advantage of the fact that presidential pardons, as authorized in the Constitution, are very broadly defined and very sweeping in nature. They allow the pardon anyone for any real or imagined crime. Even if no sentence has been issued, no charges have been laid. Keep you off the hook for whatever you may have done. There's talk of Trump issuing such a pardon to his lawyer, Rudy Giuliani, or to his children, Eric, Donald Jr., Ivanka, and Ivanka's husband, Jared Kushner, presumably for crimes related to the web of conflicts of interest around their business and political worlds and their questionable tax practices, or even to himself. The self-pardon was the subject of another video I made on this subject in 2017. When he talks about the pardon power, it's pretty clear he's talking about people in his own office.
Yes. Yeah.
Right. Right.
So hang on. 3 years ago, you guys were upset about this whole concept. This is a new concept, preemptive pardoning. Today now, it's a good thing. He needs to, because Trump's going to weaponize things against him.
I love the internet. I love it.
The funniest thing about the Biden pardon in the first place is the fact that nobody even knows if it was constitutional for him to do a blanket pardon like that for a period of time in the first place. The majority of time that any of these pardons have been they've been wrote for specific dates and crimes are listed for specific things. Even the Nixon pardon was for a specific thing. It wasn't a blanket pardon for everything he's ever done wrong. It was for the thing that he was going to be charged with.
Yes, but that's different though.
Yeah.
So we talking about Trump. When Trump do it, it's wrong. Everybody know it wrong.
And the new word they tied to Trump's preemptive pardon is Trump loyalist. People that are loyal to the person they work for. Imagine that. Imagine being loyal to your boss. I
know, right?
Imagine.
Why don't they ever talk about Biden's loyalists? Well, one, you have to find one in order for them to exist in the first place. But two, is the fact that all these people are working for the same blob of an organization, which is the administrative state that keeps everything propped up, like the people in the State Department, the CIA, and all the other people that have been planning things forever. The president has only been a puppet, and it's just a puppet this entire time.
The crazy part, though, is Biden does have loyalists. They're just in different countries. They're just overseas, and they're in Ukraine and they're in China, but they're not here. So he can't really rely on them to do a whole lot. Now, when we look around the interwebs, like we say, we love the interwebs. The interweb is the location for all. It's our own personal time machine. While we may not be able to live in it, we can relive it through the things we see. Okay. And here we have Whoopi Goldberger. Listen to what she says. Okay.
Yo, I love The View, man. I'm such a fan.
love The View. It's great stuff.
Testing, and one of his most trusted advisors, Sean Hannity, suggested his next move should be pardoning himself and his family to stop the so-called witch hunt.
So-called.
I mean, I don't know that he even has the power to do that. What does no one read? He's the
Okay, good. Does no one read?
Oh,
That's a very good question, Whoopi. But now, please note, when the idea, now mind you, not even Trump saying it, Hannity suggesting possibly, then it's a problem. Now, Biden actually considering it.
Remember, folks familiar with the matter, right? That's how we always do things. Not what Trump actually said or what he plans to do. People familiar with his thinking and familiar with the matter, or anonymous sources say, those are the people you're supposed to trust, right?
There was a song.
And Sean Hannity, apparently.
What was the song? Oh, Marvin Gaye sang it. I heard it through the grapevine. That's what it.
Yeah, I heard it. So,
and
man, I tell you.
And when it comes to Biden, they throw out the emotional, hook. His son, his child. Wouldn't you do this for your child? You know what I mean? They try to pull on the emotion strings. They pull on them to make people think that psychologically that Hunter Biden's a child, and he's not. He's a whole grown man.
He's 54 years old, man. If that is still a child, then I am a baby, man.
Yes.
Like, if he is a child, I am a baby. Like, that is the most ridiculous thing I've ever heard in my life. It's like, you have to protect your kid. It's like, dude, you got one foot in the grave, and so does he.
Oh, man.
He's had it there since his crack days. Now, remember,
yeah,
Whoopi is a very even-keeled and consistent person. I don't want nobody saying nothing bad about Whoopi. She's very consistent. She talks to ghosts.
She has aged gracefully.
Yes, and she talks to ghosts. Okay,
and Jumpin' Jack Flash.
Right. So don't you talk bad about Whoops.
Nope.
But I do want to tell you, Whoopi, it sounds a little something like you're double speaking. I'm on your side. I just think that you sound like you're double speaking. I know you would never do that. Okay, I know that. So I want to hear what you say 4 years later. What you say? Let me hear you.
He's the president, the sitting president, and he can do whatever he wants to until his time is up.
Yeah. Kind of like contest an election, right?
Imagine that.
Huh.
So Whoopi, why is it different for this guy, but not for Trump? Why is there a different standard for Trump? That's the question.
Because
Biden, it's okay. He can do what he wants. But if Trump does what he wants, he's a dictator.
Yeah, about that.
Yeah.
What we're gonna today is media day. We want to hear what the media has to say about Biden going away. Here we go. Another one.
After President Biden gave his son Hunter an expansive pardon, legal experts have questioned how a president's pardon power could be used moving forward. That includes questions about the possible use of preemptive pardons. To discuss, I'm joined now by Kim Whaley. She's a professor at the University of Baltimore School of Law and author of the book Pardon Power: How the Pardon System Works and Why. Kim Whaley, welcome back to the NewsHour.
Hello, great to be here.
So before we move into some of the questions that folks have now, I want to start with that pardon by President Biden of his son. It's drawn mixed reviews, even from members of his own party, as you've seen, but you have defended his decision to issue that pardon. Tell us why.
Well, it doesn't fall in the category of a self-dealing pardon. Hunter Biden's not someone that there's a concern that he'll go on to commit violent crimes or even additional crimes. He paid back his tax liability with interest. The gun charge was for a very low level offense that.
Whoa. What do you mean a low level offense? It was felony,
I tell you,
wasn't
the
it?
2A.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was a felony.
Was it not? Is felony low level?
No.
Yeah.
I'm trying to
remember.
okay, so when Negroes do it, it's violent and high level felony. When the white dude that does crack and is a president's son, that's low level.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now I'm going to speak to Black America again. Listen. Y'all wanted to vote for this fool, right? And y'all did. Then you wanted to vote for the cackling Indian that was there trying to pretend to be black, that would have done the same thing that the old buffoonish man that's in power now would have done. And you hear their own white cronies telling you, no, it was nothing big. It was just having a gun and a drug charge. That's low level. That's all it is. Meanwhile, the same father was responsible for putting 90% of y'all that committed something about the same for life.
Yep.
Yeah. I was going to say that there's a little thing called the 3 strikes rule, and I believe Hunter had 3 strikes on that charge in the first place. With between all the things that he's done, not even half the things that are on the laptop that show him doing illegal activities in the first place, right? We're not even talking about sex trafficking because he bought hookers and a bunch of them, right? And we're not even sure at the ages of the most of them. So there's a lot of things they could have charged him with that are evidenced on a laptop that belongs to him, that they have affirmed belongs to him from the FBI, says it is him, has lots of federal crimes on it, right? That would have put him away for life if he was black.
No, those are low level crimes.
You can't.
Yeah. Low level. Yes, it might have been putting him away for life, but it's low level life. Because he's a low life, he gets low level life in prison.
But plus, his dad would have been very sad. His dad would have been very sad if he would have went to prison.
It's very sad.
Right, exactly.
He loves him.
There are only 2 advocates when it comes to Hunter Biden for some reason.
They can't.
No, pardon power is absolute.
Yeah, it's done.
The thing that they can challenge in the courts is that the president doesn't have the authority to do a blanket pardon for years worth of federal crimes. It needs to be like, what will more than likely happen is they will challenge this and say you cannot give such a broad sweeping pardon. It needs to be specific, and that'll curtail presidential powers moving forward, or they won't do anything about it. One of the two. There's only 2 options here.
Yeah, I'm picking the secondary one. They won't do anything about it. But let's listen to what the wicked witch of the East has to say, since she's saying it's a low level crime. Let me hear what you got to say. Maybe you'll explain why it's low level.
Even the likes of Lindsey Graham have said publicly probably would not have been prosecuted.
Yeah, well, let's look. Let's not use Lindsey Graham as a monicum of truth giving. Okay, no. Lindsey Graham is a shill for Biden long before he was anything else. Okay. Let's just be honest about something. I wouldn't be surprised if Lindsey Graham was on that laptop. So let's just, let's not use him as a cat lady
with dudes.
He is
with dudes. Yeah.
He is a cat lady disguised as
a guy.
Yeah,
I'm a dude playing a dude disguised as another dude.
Lindsey Graham,
that's exactly
the god.
Lindsey Graham is.
Lindsey Graham, the god of war himself. No one cares what he has to say.
That's crazy.
If he had not been the president's son, and of course for both of those he had relapsed into his addiction after the death of his brother Bo. So
come on, woman.
Where's the world's smallest violin?
Listen to me. If the death of his brother caused him to relapse to drugs, why would he then go and get his brother's wife hooked on drugs and then sleep with her? He was distraught that he had to go and bang his brother's wife. Really? That sounds like a whole lot of empathy he has there. Y'all are weird, man. Y'all look. The left always has these ridiculous ideas of sympathy. We need to have sympathy for the man. Think about what he's been through. What has he been through? What has Hunter been through? I just want to know. Tell me. He had money his whole life. There was nothing else. Right? Nothing else.
This is what I need, Marlon, right here for
That's
moments
what we
like
need,
these.
right
Just,
there.
do it right there. Like that's literally the world's smallest violin.
We should make a lapel, a little lapel thing for your tie, and just put it in a little. I have the world's smallest violin here. For anytime someone tries to act like I need sympathy, just put it up to them. Hey, here you go. I brought this around because I knew you were coming. But
Yeah.
I don't
if you
understand this.
have
What's the point? What's the point of bringing up the dead brother?
Pulling on the heartstrings, remember? And they have to get an emotional attachment. They want the people to get an emotional attachment to Hunter Biden. So they want them to forget about all the crimes that he's committed. So they got to add something, some type of trauma to it so they don't think about what he did. Oh yeah, his brother died. Oh, he went to rehab. Oh, poor Hunter. It becomes poor Hunter instead of looking at Hunter as a criminal. Pedophile.
Yeah. You know what I would be doing if I was part of BLM right now? I'd be like trying to push for a presidential pardon for everybody that's been locked up with a similar offense to Hunter Biden, because it's not fair that the president's son gets released for crimes that are low level, right? While there are a bunch of black men that have been arrested for the same exact crimes for doing drugs and lying on a gun form, right?
Except BLM is kind of tied up with Penny right now. So
yeah,
right, exactly. But that's the only thing they care about, instead of an actual thing that would make sense. Is like, you pardon Hunter, so why can't you pardon other black men that have been arrested falsely under these same charges, according to you?
Because black people in BLM don't care about black people outside BLM.
No,
right?
And plus, they wouldn't have. If they did that, they wouldn't have their free labor. So
that's right, for real. Come on.
They need them.
Think about all the things that Kamala would have lost if she had done that.
Yeah.
This is from ABC News. Experts say, I'm gonna let that first word marinate in your conscience for just a second. Experts say, never a name, never an idea of who, why, what. Experts he say that Biden has a constitutional right to issue preemptive pardons. Now, if you scroll down, as President Joe Biden weighs whether to issue preemptive pardons to people President-elect Trump has vowed to seek retribution against and even prosecute, and notice not naming any crime, nothing, just, experts again, he has the power to do so under the Constitution.
Oh,
look at this. It is both legal and probably prudent. Legal experts said Biden can protect people Trump considers his political enemies by issuing them preemptive pardons. It's both legal and probably prudent for President Biden to consider pardoning people who could get hit with bogus charges.
Kind of like he has this entire time, right? Like made up charges that they had to literally stretch in order to make it so that he was a criminal.
What?
So imagine if Trump, before he left office, because a lot of these crimes were coming up while he was in office too. Before he left office, he would have pardoned himself, blanket pardon, and just left. Can you imagine what the so-called experts would have been saying? That's unconstitutional. He can't do that. The experts would have been saying.
Now listen carefully. Listen carefully to how stupid these people are. Listen. It's both legal and prudent for President Biden to consider pardoning people who could be hit with bogus charges and harassed with the elements of law enforcement just because he doesn't like what they say or what they've said. Now, hear me out. That's not illegal for him to say that stuff. So there's no grounds. So it should be fine because it'll just go away. So there's nothing to preemptively pardon them from, because you say, by your own admission, there's no crime, right? Good. Now, if there is no crime, please tell me on what grounds are you pardoning? I just want to know what you're pardoning them from. I know you're trying to protect them, but what are you pardoning them from? What exactly did Trump say that he was going to charge them with? That's what I want to know, what he's going to charge them with. And if he did say what he was going to charge them with outside of just saying, I'm going to go after them, please tell me what you are going to exempt them from. Well, I just want to know. If you got a charge, please let it known.
This is the thing, is that they're expecting him to do a blanket pardon like he did with Hunter Biden, where he's just going to get it's from this date to this date. Any federal crimes that you may or may have not committed, you are now hereby pardoned of, right? This is kind of dangerous, because you could pardon somebody and not know anything that they've actually done, and some of it could be absolutely heinous, right? And be a federal crime, including and up to treason.
I got one. I just figured it out. I know one person that they can preemptively pardon of the three that they've mentioned. Fauci.
Yeah.
Now, there is one crime that he has definitely committed. He admitted to under oath.
Yep.
And it was not to do with us, not to do with the jibbity jib jab. It was the dogs. Cruelty against animals.
Yeah.
Now, hear me out. If they were to go after Fauci for cruelty against animals, they would have him dead to rights. I mean,
But it's not a-
100% dead to rights.
Is that a federal crime though? I don't
Doesn't
think it's a
matter
federal
what.
crime. They could get him in a
It
state
could be
crime.
depending on if it was across different states.
State lines, right?
Yes,
Here's
and
the
if it
thing that
used
a lot of
government
people-
funding to do, if he used government funding to
Yeah.
do it, yes, it would be federal.
So even if, so here's the other thing that people aren't talking about when it comes to these preemptive pardons. Even if they were pardoned of federal crimes, that does not stop the state governments
From
from
going after
filing
them.
charges against them in the first place, because then you would have to get a pardon from the governor. And depending on the state, if it's
You're
a
done.
blue state, then you might, well, unless they're in a purple state, then that might get a little bit iffy.
Yeah,
So I'm just saying.
I could see him if they wanted a pardon. It'd start around J6, so 2020 on. So all those people, and I think a lot of they're worried about a lot of the part when it comes to him going after these people. A lot of it comes down to J6, the committee, and all that other stuff, and their push for this fake insurrection. So if he was going to pardon him, he'd be like from 2020 to 2024 or whenever. And
The other thing,
that's how long they'll do it for.
there's one person they're not talking about giving a pardon to, though.
Who's that?
Nancy
Hillary
Pelosi.
Clinton. She
Well-
still committed federal crimes by destroying evidence.
Well, the reason they won't do it is because here's why. There's nothing to pardon her from. And I don't think Trump's going to go after her.
No.
Yeah, no, I'm just saying, but nobody's mentioning her, even though she was.
But she
mainly
also doesn't have any
responsible
ties to
for the
Biden.
Russiagate information.
Yeah, but she has no ties to Biden. Now think about this, okay?
True.
She has her own crimes and she's doing her own thing. They're not concerned about her. Biden, on the other hand, is linked to two of the bigger people that you could think of, right? He's linked to
Yeah.
China and he's linked to the DNC on a whole different level, including people like Barack. And then Barack is linked to things that happen way more than Hillary has ever done.
Way in the back, yeah.
Okay. So them looking at Hillary is be like, all right, well, yeah, but Biden now and his affiliates, that could bring down the entire thing. Now you have to remember, he's been around for forever. Forever he's been here. So I can see why they wouldn't bother trying to say, okay, I'll preemptively pardon Hillary Clinton. Plus, we all know what people think of Hillary. If he even thinks it hints at saying, okay, we're going to pardon Hillary, that's when they'll lose complete. They will lose complete. Everyone will be like, Hillary, you're going to pardon Hillary. You're going to see the Haitians talk. You're going to see everybody come up and say, you're going to pardon Hillary. You remember what you did here? Remember what you did here? There's too much honor for them to say, pardon that
there's
one.
too much dirt.
Yeah.
But here's the other thing I don't think we're taking a look at here. The actual will to do any of these pardons in the first place, right? Because if we remember what happened just a few months ago, the party put a knife in his back, right? So like, why would this guy protect any of these people after they ousted him unceremoniously, probably made up a fake resignation letter saying he's dropping out of the race and forced it on him because he endorsed Kamala when they wanted to do an open primary, right? So like, you have to assume that Biden has no love for these people. So even if they're the only people that are talking about this is the mainstream media, only they are talking about preemptive pardonings and asking for this to happen. Biden himself still has to sign it himself, right? He has to sign the paper, physically sign the paper. You can't just make that up, right? So he has to have the will to pardon these people in the first place. And they put a knife in his back already.
Yeah.
Why would he do it?
Yeah, and here's another thing. I think that when Biden and Trump had that meeting, shortly after that meeting, Biden pardoned his son. And I think Biden actually was probably spilling the beans to Trump because, as Coy stated, that the party turned their back on him. So he was probably in there. And Trump came out and said that he's not going after Biden. I read that. So he talked to Trump. He spilled the beans. Trump probably knows everything he needs to know. Trump came out and said he's not going to go after Biden. Biden, in turn, said, "Let me pardon my son."
They
And
made
don't
a
make
deal.
a big stink about it. Biden pardons his son. Trump says he's not going after Biden, but Biden's not going to pardon everyone else, like Coy stated, the party that turned his back on him. And Biden already told Trump everything he needs to know. I think,
What
you know,
did
that's
Trump
my
say
opinion.
about the pardon? Does anybody remember what he said about it? Because I don't. I can't think off the top of my head what Donald Trump said about the
He
pardon.
did come out and say something about it. I just don't remember what he said, but he did talk about it.
But he didn't make
Truth.
a big stink about it.
No, he posted on Truth. He said something, but he left it at that because there's nothing he can really do.
I don't want him to.
Yeah, there's.
I don't want him to.
I don't think he would either.
Again, there are two. There are bigger things to deal with. First of all, okay, I don't mind him leaving this for the very last 2 years of his presidency. I really don't mind. Let them sit there and wonder when he's going to do something. I want them to squirm in their seat and have him just do all kinds of other things and then when they finally think, oh, he's not going to do it, that's when I want him to do it. When they've dropped their guard and think, no, he's not going to do it. It's been 2 years. And then all of a sudden, okay, well, I've opened investigations into all of these people. There's going to be great prices to be paid. Everyone's going to go to jail. It's going to be a great time. America's going to be free from these monsters all day long. It's going to be great. That's what I think will happen. And I want that to happen because I want them to squirm.
Well, it's also the fact that he's worried about his legacy. This is his last term. He wants to cement himself in history because that's the kind of ego he has. He wants to cement himself. And that's fine. The thing is like, how is he going to leave it is the question. And that's where I'm at. I mean, especially when he's joking about Trudeau being a Governor Trudeau, right? You know, that's where I'm sitting at.
Yeah, I want Mexico and Canada, but I don't think Trump's got too much money to worry about his legacy. He's already made a name for himself.
His family is his legacy.
Yeah, his family.
I don't think he cares about the money. None of this is about the money. This is about his legacy and his name. It's always been about his legacy.
He already has that, though.
He's had that. He doesn't care about this. He's here to make a lot of changes. And if he has to take a lot of people out and take one for the team on his way out, I believe that he's willing to do that. And he stated it before. And I don't care. I'm here for you guys. So whatever they say about me, do to me, talk about me, I'll go out. But he's gonna make a statement before he leaves.
I'm not saying that's a bad thing. I'm just saying that I think this is one of his main motivating factors is he wants to leave himself. He doesn't want to be viewed as a bad president. He wants to be viewed as the best. He wants his face on Mount Rushmore kind of good.
But he is. That happened. That happened his first term to begin with. So he can't undo that. There's nothing he can do right now to undo it.
He wants more than that.
No, I don't think so.
No, he doesn't. Because I think the votes in the American people said enough. No matter what Trump does, the people that support him are always going to support him. The same people that Donald Trump wants to go after with this deep state, all this corruption, are the same people that the majority of Americans that voted for him want him to do. So they're not going to frown down on his legacy because the people that put him in office are going to praise that even when he leaves. Yeah. He's not worried about it.
I'm going to answer you here. So hear me out. Just hear me out. Okay. I hear what you say. But let's think long game. Since most people think he plays chess and the rest of people playing checkers, let's listen to the long game. If he leaves Biden alone, right? Two things happen with that. And I don't mean like leave him alone and never look into what the things that he did affected government and our reach overseas, because eventually that will come back into play because he has international things to deal with. So let's put that on the back burner for a minute. We're talking about Biden's personal stuff, okay? Him going after Biden would be petty, the same way he should not have gone after Hillary. Here's why. You're looking at something more akin to what Biden would have done. He doesn't want to put himself in that category. You can't afford to put yourself in that category. Secondarily, that would be definitely something against the same thing he's trying to protect, the Constitution. So this is why I don't think he should go after them. However, going after the younglings, for lack of a better term, the ones that are not so high up, namely people like Fauci who abuse government funding, that would be a great, because he can do that. People like Liz Cheney who use government's positions to gain wealth for her family by warmongering. That's something he can go, because that would be part of national security. And then people like Adam Schiff who lied to the American people and was actually part of lawmaking. He can go after him. And General Milley, who also could be tried for treason. So those people, he can easily, now here's a upside. Trump doesn't have to go after Biden. If he goes after those people, hear me out. If he goes after those people and their link shows up in the court cases to Biden, he won't have to go after Biden.
Yep.
Yeah.
He wouldn't have to. You know who
he-
would? The natural design of the system would go after him.
This is what I would say is that why would you go after the puppet when you can get the puppet master? Or why would you get the 6-ounce perch when you can get the 25-pound cat? Right? You want the catfish at that weight. You don't want the perch at 6 ounces, man.
Yeah.
Like, so if I get Biden, I'm just getting the perch when I could go and get the catfish, which is the 25-pounder.
Get rid of the whole thing.
Like, I need to get the thing that's at the bottom of the river that needs to be got, not the little thing at top. That's what he's trying to do.
And it's setting the precedence, right? You know, because if he gets these people, everyone else who's done something corrupt during Trump's whole 4 years, they're going to be sitting there sweating because they know what's coming. So once he gets these people, then he's going to show everybody else, like, we're not done. And guarantee he'll say that we're not done. We have more. And all those little corrupt, deep swamp rats are going to get caught. Just like Trump promised. He promised to drain the swamp. And I guarantee he's going to do it.
He's doing it. He's
And
doing
so
it vicariously too.
Yep. He is. He's doing it now.
If you go after Biden now, Trump's not the end of this thing. Like, we still have another election in 4 years, right? And the person that comes after him has to either continue on the legacy or we go back to what we've been doing. So if you go after Biden, it's just going to be the continuation of more of the same.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
And we're not going to get anywhere. So that's why it doesn't make sense to go after Biden, even though it's cathartic. Everybody would love for it to happen. It doesn't make sense logically.
Mm-hmm. We got to make them afraid.
Logical people.
We got to make them afraid on the lower level so that we can take out the house from the stilts. You see, this, and look, I'm not saying that he is. I'm not one of those people that say, "Oh, he's on 5D." I do believe that he's seeing something and he's trying to go at it strategically. I'm not saying no, but I would prefer to see him put all of his efforts by picking the right people, which I do believe Kash Patel would be the great one to go after him, and just let Kash, because Kash is fully aware of what's going on. He wouldn't have to meet with Kash to say, "This is what I want you to look." Kash is already looking into it long before he knew Trump. So this whole idea of putting him in charge would be perfect. He would be hands off. He wouldn't have to do a single thing. He just let it take place, let it run. And that's what we want. Now, not everybody is in Biden's corner, mind you, if he decides to preemptively pardon. So watch this.
As President Biden and his team consider preemptive pardons for President-elect Trump's political rivals, a top Senate Democrat said he's strongly opposed and described it as a terrible idea.
Because it would, in effect, be an implicit acknowledgement of some culpability or guilt, and it would apply only to the top officials, probably leaving the underlings exposed and vulnerable.
Multiple outlets are reporting that President Biden's senior aides are debating blanket pardons for those who could be targeted by the Trump Justice Department, like former Congresswoman Liz Cheney, Congressman Adam Schiff, or Dr. Anthony Fauci. Blumenthal said if there is a prosecution, it would be better to create a legal defense fund so the accused could have a strong bipartisan team of attorneys. He also said, as a former prosecutor, it will be difficult to get a conviction on purely political charges.
Convicting someone in front of a jury, convincing them of guilt beyond a reasonable doubt, even with the evidence to do it, is a lot more difficult than it looks. And here, there would be no evidence. I think that pushing back and achieving acquittals, in effect, giving the president a black eye when he brings these retribution prosecutions, would be a way to uphold justice.
President,
what he said, there was a whole bunch of nothing. But anyway,
right, when he says it, like when he says when they're purely political, unless you rig it, which is what the judge did in Trump's case, where you said it doesn't matter if he committed this crime, if you think or perceive he committed any crime, then you can apply the statute. So like no, like even if it's purely political, they can work around to make it work because you've already done that to him.
Yeah, and saying, the thing is, a lot of them are resigning. I think Shifty-Eyed Schiff resigned. You know, resigning. Why are you resigning? What are you worried about? Because if you were doing your job correctly and you weren't corrupt, there would be no reason for you to resign. Who else resigned? Ray just resigned. Why are you resigning? You're the FBI director. So what'd you resign for that you're worried about they're going to come after you and fire you? There has to be a reason why they fire you. Trump's, yeah, he may just fire anybody he wants. He has that power. But why are you worried about getting fired? Because you know what you did is corrupt, and all those things that you did is going to come back to haunt you. So you guys are jumping ship before that time comes. But don't worry, it's coming.
It's coming. The crazy part is that at least there's a few of them that I'm saying Blumenthal is thinking. I'm just saying at least he's out loud said that it would look like you're saying that they are guilty of something that you are afraid of coming to light. Now, that alone should keep Biden from doing it, but we also all know that Biden doesn't always think. Okay, and especially if he cannot think, people around him are going to suggest to him to do the dumber things. Just like pardoning his son was a stupid thing to do, whether it was because he thought he should or Trump and him spoke, whatever it was, it's still a stupid thing to do. Especially after you just said you wouldn't. But again, Biden doesn't care. He's on his last leg. He's not running again. There's no reason for him to care anymore either way. Now, Blumenthal did mention something very important, and we had just spoken about it. If we do that, you're leaving things open for the underlings who carried out the biddings of the head guys, and there'll be no recourse for them to spill the beans. So like say they go after an underling. The underling can't say, well, the head guy made me do it. Well, the head guy can't be charged. You're going to have to taste the brunt of it. Kind of like how
somebody's getting
Epstein's
charged.
people went through, right? What's her name? Maxwell, right?
Yeah.
Maxwell got the brunt of it. She didn't get life, but she got the brunt of the punishment. So this is how they have to think that way before they think, oh, we're going to need to have the pardons come out. Because if you look at it logically, you're setting yourself up, whether you believe the media is going to have your back or not. You're setting yourself up to look as though, the appearance as though you're not only afraid of Donald, but you're afraid that what he's saying is true.
Yes.
And if it's true, your whole house of cards are going to fall down. So you have they're caught, and this is a beautiful thing, by the way. They're caught between a rock and a hard place. They want to preemptively pardon, but they can't, because if they do, then they're admitting guilt. If they don't admit guilt and they don't preemptively pardon and they do go to court, they will be proven guilty. So either way, they're in trouble. It's beautiful.
And the thing is that they have no idea what Trump really knows. You know, the only thing they want to talk about is stuff that we see in the media. But, you know, Trump is a chess player, man. He's always been that way. And they don't know what information he has that's been deep down in some file somewhere that he actually has, you know, possession of, or that he gained from his last term. Because remember, they went after him for those secret documents, classified documents. So they probably are worried that he has something, or he had something in there. So that's why they went after it. So they're terrified right now because they can get on the camera and talk all this and blah, 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 blah. But the American people, and they don't know what Trump has in possession.
Right. That's the main thing that we've talked about before, is that he has to tell everything, be compelled to speech, or get arrested for contempt. He has to. He doesn't get to plead with it. Same thing with any of these other people. If they are given pardons, they don't have the protection of the Fifth Amendment anymore. They can still compel them to testify anywhere.
Right. And they can still plead the Fifth. It won't matter, but they can still plead the Fifth. They can still do it. Now, here's the problem. You can plead there, but then there are two different ways we can go after you, even if it's not federal. Civil, you're not pardoned from that. And if they go after Hunter civilly, he can plead the Fifth. But if they don't, and they go after him federally, by Congress goes after him, he has to. He will be compelled to, or he'll be held in contempt. Now, mind you, I'm not saying that Congress usually goes through with this. Okay, I'm not saying that Congress usually holds people in contempt. Otherwise, everyone that ever testified before them would have been held in contempt, because all of them have come forward and lied. Hillary lied. Fauci lied. You name it.
Remember Eric Holder?
Holder lied. Ray lied. All of them lied, and they never had any punishment come back to them. So it's not like we can say, yes, that if it were a regular courtroom, something would have happened. But before Congress, probably not much. And it depends on the kinds of questions they ask. This is the biggest problem I've seen from the right. The people on the right ask on occasion a good question, but they get, unfortunately for us, they get too emotionally involved, and they ask some of the most stupid, pointless, and rambling type response questions you could ever ask. They don't go direct to the meat of the problem and force these people to fumble over themselves. And that is the biggest peeve I have. The only person I've seen do it, there are two. that I've seen ask them such questions to make them absolutely lose their mind, and that is Gates and the old guy. What's his name in the Senate?
Kennedy.
There's
Kennedy.
a few of them.
Yeah.
Kennedy and Gates do some of the best work of putting people on the spot to where they have malfunctioning questions, which is what you want to do. You want to put them
Paul does
on
too.
the spot and make them. But even then he kind of failed.
But he's
He hasn't
a
done it
very
forever.
mild.
Yeah, but those two don't give two flips. They have zero chill, and I love that. That's exactly what you need to have, is no chill. So in some ways, yeah, I can see them bringing Hunter in, but again, I don't think we need Hunter.
No.
When Cash gets in there, all the answers we could possibly need will be dumped from that laptop.
Yep.
Yeah.
It will be dumped.
But
And the instant that's flooded, you will see people that know the people on that laptop bringing criminal charges towards the Biden family simply because of what's on that laptop. And the government can't touch that one because that would be from the civil side. They're screwed if that happens, which I think will need to be happening. They need to be able to divulge to us what's on that laptop, because if there are victims, the victims themselves can bring this charges to, and they won't need the government involved in that. And I think that'd be great.
So here's the thing, is that the other shoe of this is that there are two specific cases that I can think of where Trump has all the information once he gets in that he can declassify and release to the public.
Mm-hmm.
Those two being who has the Diddy files right now and who has the Epstein files right now. Those two alone are enough to destroy all of these people. Just anything on those files is enough. Why do you think the celebrities are actually leaving the country this time that Trump has won? Because Diddy is in custody, and Diddy has the tapes of everybody.
In a lot of this situation, guys, this whole pardon this and preemptive pardon that will eventually prove only to be the destruction power of the left. Okay, like I said, the rock and hard place they put themselves in, they can't get out of this one.
Yeah.
You pardon, you've admitted some sort of guilt, regardless of what it is. You don't pardon, you're going to get charged and you're going to end up in prison anyway. So either way, by the social side of justice, you're going to be a pariah, or by the actual state of justice, you're going to be in jail. They can't win anyway on this. They've painted themselves into this corner because what they say Trump shouldn't do, you're doing. What you say Trump did, you're doing. What you're saying Biden didn't do and Trump did, you actually did and Trump didn't do. And it's all coming out now. So there's no way for them to win this argument. There's no way to win the popular nothing. They cannot get this back. The only option they have left, and I'm going to say the only option they have left, is to make sure that Trump never sees the light of day before January. That's the only the only way they can get out of this is to make sure something happens, which they've already planned. X is coming down the pike, and then they already this kickoff that they have going off. Where they in Syria and all, they're leaving as much on the table that they can have a setup to make things so difficult that he can't control what's going on, and his first 2 years are going to be so dedicated to something outside of America. Then they can say, oh look, he's a poor president. And if they do manage to make sure all of this takes place long before January 20, they can say, well, now we can't let him in because we have things to deal with before he gets in there.
Right.
I can see it. And I can see it happening.
And if they do that, say, in which they're doing it already, they're already trying to cause BLM riots. They're pushing for that. They're talking about it. They want BLM to have another summer of love. But say they do that and Trump gets in. If I was Trump, day one, January 20th, I would drop the Epstein list and the Diddy list right off a jump. So now everyone in America is not focused on the riots and everything else. They're all looking at this list to see who's actually on it. And then once they start going down this list and they start seeing all these political names and all these Hollywood figures and these musicians and entertainers, people are going to understand that, whoa, this is why they were going after this man
so hard.
So, if I was him, day one, after he puts his hand down, Cash Patel's back there and he gets with X and he posts it for everyone to see. All eyes on X. That's how you squash it.
And I think them being actually open and transparent with a lot of this stuff that they're doing will make it harder for them to fight against it. Because if you're just inundated with information after information after information, all that stuff's going to be a lot to get through. And then they're going to be like, well, all of this is true. And then people are going to have to contend with it. and the media is going to have to spin it constantly. So that's what I would do, is just take all that truthful information that's been classified up until this point and just flood the internet with it.
Yeah.
Just drop everything, because then that means they're going to be too busy sifting through all this information to even fight what he's trying to do in the first place, because they're going to have to fight against everything that comes out. Oh, here's the new piece of information. Oh, here's the next thing that we need to fight against. They're going to be too busy fighting against the information that's out there versus what he's actually trying to do in the administration. So that's what my game plan would be.
And I think it would just shut the deep state down. It would stop them in their tracks. Immediately, it would stop them in their tracks, because a lot of these people that are anti-Trumpers, and there's some on the right too, their names are on those lists. And the minute you drop it, their credibility goes out the freaking window. That's how you got to destroy their credibility. And the way to destroy their credibility is showing American people that they're on these two lists, whether they're on one or the other or both.
It doesn't even have to be just those lists. Like he doesn't have to go after these people criminally. None of these people have to be gone after. The best thing he could do is just tell people the truth. Like, here, you view everything that these people have been doing behind your back, and you tell me what I should do. And then once they see the information, it's like, how are these people not in jail? How are they not arrested? The populace would ask the questions, Trump, why aren't you doing something about these criminals? It's like, because I can't arrest them because I look like I'm going after my political opponents. But you at least know the truth now. You know who these people are. And that's the best thing he could possibly do. Even if he never charges a single person, as long as everybody sees who they really are, that's the most important thing here. And this is how corrupt everything's been. This is what they've been doing with your money. And this is what they've been doing to everybody. Knowing the truth is more important at this point.
Yeah. Right. And we have 2 weeks. So get her done.
It'll be a very interesting transition period. I do want to tackle that Ray stepping down thing, but I want to wait and see what comes out about it, and possibly weigh in on the Penny verdict and the new rise of the current leaders in BLM. So we have quite a few to cover. Disease X is another one we need to check into. And we did already. We need to go back and watch our prediction to see what they said when they were going to drop it. And I think we're almost 100% right that we're going to drop it. If Trump were to win, they were going to drop it in December.
We talked about it last week.
Clip of a guy.
We mentioned it last week about Disease X.
Yeah.
And just this week,
that one guy, he was saying that there's a bunch of coming down the pipe, right? Didn't we play that one?
Yeah. But when we did cover Weapon X, Disease X, when we did cover it a year ago now, it's been a year, little less.
Weapon X.
Wolverine. I think we had said that it was going to be dropped. If they're going to drop it, if Trump won, they would drop it in December.
Yeah.
I think we had said, I need to go back and watch and see. And I think it was either you, bro, or myself that said they were going to try and drop it in December, so that when the things come around, so you can't gather, you can't meet to have the inauguration and all that. I would bet you we said it. I'm trying to remember, but I think I remember us saying that.
I think we said that they were going to wait for the Disease X, because they talked about it, they were hyping it up, then it went away, and we said that they're going to wait until this next election to drop it, and then they're probably going to drop it right before the inauguration if Trump wins.
Let's see if we're Nostradamus.
Shake it up.
We might be Nostradamus and not know.
Or it'd be one of these things where it's I saw a video not too long ago. It was like it looks like things are always happening, but then nothing actually happens. And like I kind of feel like we're in that scenario where we see a lot of things that are happening and then nothing happens.
Yeah. No, this one might. This one's
like,
too detrimental.
I hope. Who would rather be?
Look, I think these last few weeks, they're just going to open the floodgates, man. Look, we got war in Syria. You got BLM talking about riots. We got another, Weapon X, Wolverine, Disease X.
Got you too.
Yeah, Disease X getting ready to drop. Then they had those 300 vials of some pathogen that was taken from some lab. So I think the closer it gets, they're just going to open up those floodgates and hit the American people with everything they can possible. But the American people have to understand that everything that happens these next few weeks, understand that it's all planned. It's a distraction. It's part of the plan. So don't fall for it.
I would say like this, like any disease that people have purposely made to gain functions that are harmful to humans, it should be considered a weapon. It should be considered a bioweapon, especially what happened after COVID. Yeah. So it could be
definitely-
Weapon X. Just call it Weapon X because that's what
Well,
it is. It's
that
weaponized,
way it won't be you won't be,
weaponized viruses. Right?
there's no strike to happen on Weapon X. We're
Yeah.
talking X-Men here, okay? YouTube,
Yeah.
this is
We're talking
Wolverine.
about Weapon
X-Men,
X, yeah.
Wolverine. Yeah,
Wolverine.
Weapon X.
I did not grow a beard overnight. It took a bit to get it back to at least this point. It's not thick as it used to be though.
Yeah,
And it's not Christmas yet. He hasn't bleached it. So
not yet. Actually, he put sparkles in
Santa
here
Claus.
and glitter.
yeah, okay, that's what you're gonna do. If we wear ugly sweaters, you gotta wear glitter in your beard.
Oh, I got mine already. Don't worry about it. It
But
ain't
I'm not
ugly.
wearing an ugly sweater, so
It's,
just so
it's
you
a
know.
black Santa Claus.
Blanta Claus.
Oh, are you gonna dress up as the Target Santa Claus one, the black and the wheelchair?
Yeah,
That might not be a bad one. Or I might dress up as Homie the Clown.
Santa Claus,
Yeah.
come straight to the ghetto.
In either case, like I said, Lee had to work this week. He did alert us to it, so we won't be here Friday. But next week is our last week before Christmas break. Just so y'all aware, we'll have another set of shows from the 23rd to the 27th. But come the 27th, we won't be back again until the 6th. Okay? Make sure y'all put that in your calendar. Don't go looking for us. We won't be here. We'll be hanging out with family and
Christmas
getting
time, man.
ourselves some rest. Okay? So from the 27th? Yes. Did I say 27th? Yes, 27th.
23rd to the 27th.
We're in December. 23rd through 27th is when we'll be. No, we'll be gone longer than that. It was
You
a
said
2
the 22nd until the 27th. I think you said we'll be out, right?
Okay. You all want to do 1 week or 2 weeks?
Oh, 1 week.
Okay. 4
1
weeks
week,
we're gone. We'll be back January 31st.
That's a good day. We could ring in the new year, right?
We'll be back January 31st.
No.
I'm just kidding. We'll be off for a week. So just so y'all know that. Okay. So we're taking up another hiatus. Everybody needs a break, but also family time, hanging out. And now it could possibly be that because it's the 29th, 30th, and 31st of that New Year's, that may be also, since we're not on Tuesday anyway, the first might be the better day to come back and start everything fresh. But we'll decide that here in the next couple of days, and we'll let you all know. So don't stress too much. We'll let you know about that. Keep your eyes out for what the topic is going to be Friday. I'll see you guys in the morning on Straight Talk, and then we'll be back here on Friday to discuss. Make sure you like, comment, share, and subscribe if you haven't already. Make sure you share this video out, get it all, and go get your Christmas merch if you haven't done that either. Time is running slim. I think the cutoff date for what you might possibly, hopefully get is like this weekend. Just so you know.
Right.
All right. So we'll catch you guys on Friday. We out. Peace.
Whoa.